want to hear my favorite warm up? Let's see if I have. I'm looking on my desk. Okay, we'll go with this one. All right. It's a pen, right? Simple pen. Everybody has one. You have one on your desk, right? So for this simple pen, if I can, I like to break into two small groups if I can. About 5 people or so is pretty good for this. Trying to do this with 20 people is not going to go well. Break people into smaller groups, and then you get that competition piece. And you're going to give people a minute. Well, you have to set up. Sorry, I'm out of order here. The setup is to have one person in each group write the alphabet on a sheet of notebook paper. You could do it on a whiteboard if you wanted a flip chart or whatever, but write down the alphabet, 26 letters, right? And then you're going to give 2 minutes, 2 minutes to come up with uses for this pen. Everybody understand? Patty's already nodding. Patty knows.
Even the
And then
dog understands. I can hear the dog in the background as well. So
you
yeah,
can
even the
hear,
dog.
yeah, Crypto wants to come in and say hello to everybody. And yes, crypto partially like the currency and partially because of Superman's dog. Last name Batten, we get a lot of Batman. We get a lot of Batman comments. He's literally at the door and is trying to figure out if I'm going to let him in or not. And I am not. So
Oh,
2 minutes, right? To think of uses for this pen. And what most people will do, and so I've done this a lot. And as the facilitator, you then need to stop talking. You need to back up. You need to just let the teams do the thing. And your job is all about timing. Now, when I do this in workshops, I will give a hint to each group. I'll go and look and see where they're at, how many letters they've already filled in. So the idea is one letter, it has to start with a letter of the alphabet. Most people are going to run to W and write. They're going to put down writing, right? There's always a group that goes a little negative and they go stabby. Might go stabby, they might go murder. I go stabby because then I can go mustache. Depending on, I also do the hair accessory, right? And now I have a pen stuck in my hair that I'm not going to be able to get out. But people will look for some of these are common answers. And I want people to go further because if you're sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to put down for Z? What am I going to put down for Q? Now, some folks will go down a path and see the thing is that 2 minutes forces you. And if your goal, because at first you're like, 26 ideas, this is going to be fast. But that letter starts to like give you a rule that starts to bother you. And sometimes you can get a little wild and crazy. People will look for verbs first. My favorite Z, I think I did this in your work. This might have happened in your workshop and it just popped into my head at one point and I did this. Zero gravity tester. It works. We still have gravity. But now I have a Z for a use for a pen. And when you get into stab, or I'm sorry, I always go for the violent one, right? If you start to think about hair, the hair accessory or whatever else, earwax remover, right? Yes, it's silly. That's the point. Yes, it's different. I never said it had to be a verb. I never said it had to be something you'd actually use or could we take it apart and use this as this is a diving board for an ant? Okay, there you go. Whatever it might be, this proves that we can come up with something new and something different. It forces us, and if we're doing this out loud, we're going to start to bounce ideas off of each other. We're going to start getting into that chaos. So that's that to me, the first thing to do is always a warm up. I love the pen. You can do the same thing with a cup, like a coffee cup. I don't have a cup. I wouldn't use this cup personally. I prefer to use a coffee cup with a handle, an empty one. Highly recommend it be an empty one, but do some sort of a warm up that can get folks into the right mindset.